Question: if this is so, then all sentient beings are endowed with suchness and are equally permeated by it. Why is it that there are infinite varieties of believers and non-believers, and that there are some who believe sooner and some later? All of them should, knowing that they are endowed with the principle of suchness, at once make an effort utilizing expedient means and should all equally attain nirvana. Answer: though suchness is originally one, yet there are immeasurable and infinite shades of ignorance. From the very beginning ignorance is, because of its nature, characterized by diversity, and its degree of intensity is not uniform. Defilements, more numerous than the sands of the Ganges, come into being because of the differences in intensity of ignorance, and exist in manifold ways. Defilements, such as the belief in the existence of Atman and the indulgence in passion, develop because of ignorance and exist in different ways. All these defilements are brought about by ignorance, in an infinitely diversified manner in time. The Tathagatas alone know all about this. In Buddhism there is a teaching concerning the primary cause and the coordinating causes. When the primary cause and the coordinating causes are sufficiently provided, there will be the perfection of a result. It is like the case of wood, though it possesses a latent fire nature which is the primary cause of its burning, it cannot be made to burn by itself unless men understand the situation and resort to means of actualizing fire out of wood by kindling it. In the same way a man, though he is in possession of the correct primary cause, suchness with permeating force, cannot put an end to his defilements by himself alone and enter nirvana unless he is provided with coordinating causes, i.e., his encounters with the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or good spiritual friends. Even though coordinating causes from without may be sufficiently provided, if the pure principle, i.e., suchness, within is lacking in the force of permeation, then a man cannot ultimately loathe the suffering of samsara and seek bliss in nirvana. However, if both the primary and the coordinating causes are sufficiently provided, then because of his possession of the force of permeation of suchness from within and the compassionate protection of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas from without, he is able to develop a loathing for suffering, to believe that nirvana is real, and to cultivate his capacity for goodness. And when his cultivation of the capacity for goodness matures, he will as a result meet the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and will be instructed, taught, benefited, and given joy, and then he will be able to advance on the path to nirvana.
Permeation through influences. This is the force from without affecting men by providing coordinating causes. Such external coordinating causes have an infinite number of meanings. Briefly, they may be explained under two categories, namely, the specific and the general coordinating causes. The specific coordinating causes. A man, from the time when he first aspires to seek enlightenment until he becomes an enlightened one, sees or meditates on the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as they manifest themselves to him. Sometimes they appear as his family members, parents, or relatives, sometimes as servants, sometimes as close friends, or sometimes as enemies. Through all kinds of deeds and incalculable performances, such as the practice of the 4 acts of loving, kindness, etc., they exercise the force of permeation created by their great compassion, and are thus able to cause sentient beings to strengthen their capacity for goodness and are able to benefit them as they see or hear about their needs. This specific coordinating cause is of 2 kinds. One is immediate and enables a man to obtain deliverance quickly, and the other is remote and enables a man to obtain deliverance after a long time. The immediate and remote causes are again of 2 kinds, the causes which strengthen a man in his practices of expedient means to help others, and those which enable him to obtain enlightenment.
The general coordinating causes. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas all desire to liberate all men, spontaneously permeating them with their spiritual influences and never forsaking them. Through the power of the wisdom which is one with suchness, they manifest activities in response to the needs of men as they see and hear them. Because of this indiscriminately permeating cause, men are all equally able, by means of concentration, to see the Buddhas. This permeation through the influence of the wisdom whose essence is one with suchness is also divided into 2 categories according to the types of recipients. The one is yet to be united with suchness. Ordinary men, the Hinayanists, and those bodhisattvas who have just been initiated devote themselves to religious practices on the strength of their faith, being permeated by suchness through their mind and consciousness. Not having obtained the indiscriminate mind, however, they are yet to be united with the essence of suchness, and not having obtained the perfection of the discipline of free acts, they are yet to be united with the influence of suchness. The other is the already united with suchness. Bodhisattvas who realize Dharmakaya have obtained undiscriminating mind and are united with the essence of the Buddhas. They, having obtained free acts, are united with the influence of the wisdom of the Buddhas. They singly devote themselves with spontaneity to their religious disciplines, on the strength of suchness within, permeating into suchness so that suchness will reclaim itself. They destroy ignorance. Again, the defiled principle, from the beginningless beginning, continues perpetually to permeate until it perishes by the attainment of Buddhahood. But the permeation of the pure principle has no interruption and no ending. The reason is that the principle of suchness is always permeating. Therefore, when the deluded mind ceases to be, the Dharmakaya, i.e., suchness, original enlightenment, will be manifest and will give rise to the permeation of the influence of suchness, and thus there will be no ending to it.
2. The essence itself and the attributes of suchness, or the meanings of Maha. The greatness of the essence of suchness. The essence of suchness knows no increase or decrease in ordinary men, the Hinayanists, the Bodhisattvas, or the Buddhas. It was not brought into existence in the beginning, nor will it cease to be at the end of time. It is eternal through and through. B. The greatness of the attributes of suchness. From the beginning, suchness in its nature is fully provided with all excellent qualities, namely, it is endowed with the light of great wisdom, the qualities of illuminating the entire universe, of true cognition and mind pure in its self-nature, of eternity, bliss, self, and purity, of refreshing coolness, immutability, and freedom. It is endowed with these excellent qualities which outnumber the sands of the Ganges, which are not independent of, disjointed from, or different from the essence of suchness, and which are suprarational attributes of Buddhahood. Since it is endowed completely with all these, and is not lacking anything, it is called the Tathagatagarbha when latent and also the Dharmakaya of the Tathagata. Question: It was explained before that the essence of suchness is undifferentiated and devoid of all characteristics. Why is it, then, that you have described its essence as having these various excellent qualities? Answer: Though it has, in reality, all these excellent qualities, it does not have any characteristics of differentiation. It retains its identity and is of one flavor. Suchness is solely one.
Question: What does this mean? Answer: Since it is devoid of individuation, it is free from the characteristics of individuation, thus it is one without any second. Question: Then how can you speak of differentiation, i.e., the plurality of the characteristics of suchness?
Answer: In contrast to the characteristics of the phenomena of the activating mind, the characteristics of suchness can be inferred. Question: How can they be inferred?
Answer: All things are originally of the mind only, they in fact transcend thoughts. Nevertheless, the deluded mind, in non-enlightenment, gives rise to irrelevant thoughts and predicates the world of objects. This being the case, we define this mentality as the state of being destitute of wisdom. The essential nature of mind is immutable in that it does not give rise to any deluded thoughts, and therefore, is the very opposite of ignorance. Hence, it is spoken of as having the characteristic of the light of great wisdom. When there is a particular perceiving act of the mind, objects other than the objects being perceived will remain unperceived. The essential nature of mind is free from any partial perceiving, hence, suchness is spoken of as having the characteristic of illuminating the entire universe. When the mind is in motion, stirred by ignorance, it is characterized by illusions and defilements, outnumbering the sands of the Ganges, such as lack of true cognition, absence of self-nature, impermanence, blisslessness, impurity, fever, anxiety, deterioration, mutation, and lack of freedom. By contrast to this, the essential nature of mind, however, is motionless, i.e., undisturbed by ignorance. Therefore, it can be inferred that it must have various pure and excellent qualities.